After 20 years, X-Men: The Last Stand has finally earned its redemption. Originally premiering on May 26, 2006, the third X-Men film was highly anticipated by fans. It was promised to be the epic conclusion to the original X-Men trilogy, while also bringing one of the most beloved stories from the comics, the Dark Phoenix saga, to the big screen. However, when it released, The Last Stand received lukewarm reviews from critics, and it was maligned by audiences. Given the amount of hype surrounding it, fans felt it didn't deliver on the grand finale that was being promised. Plus, with an incredibly short runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes, many saw the film as not living up to its epic potential. Since then, X-Men: The Last Stand has been regarded as one of the worst films in the franchise. There have certainly been films that have come and gone that have also been panned by fans. However, many viewers saw the conclusion to the original trilogy stood out too much as a major letdown. Now, the third X-Men movie is celebrating its 20th anniversary. There have been 11 movies in the X-Men saga, including the Deadpool trilogy. This has given the film enough time to stand on its own. Now, The Last Stand has earned a bit of a redemption. While it's still certainly one of the weaker films in the franchise, it's not nearly as bad as many fans claimed it to be years ago. X-Men: The Last Stand was a disappointment when it released. Before diving into why The Last Stand was redeemed, it's important to understand why it was hated in the first place. From a storytelling perspective, this third film in the original superhero trilogy does try to do too much at once. The movie ultimately decides to cram two major X-Men storylines into one short movie, rather than dedicate the film to one plot. The Cure plotline, which is arguably the strongest selling point for The Last Stand, takes up most of the drama unfolding throughout the film. It's an interesting idea to focus on the moral debate over whether being a mutant is something that needs to be cured. These societal questions are what the X-Men franchise does best, and it's a good focal point for this film. Where the movie falters is how it executes this plot. The Last Stand also tries to push the Dark Phoenix plot, which is one of the most popular stories from the comics. It was set up in the previous film, X2, X-Men United, so many fans came into this film wanting a dedicated adaptation. However, it's constantly fighting for screen time with the Cure storyline, making both plots feel underdeveloped. The Last Stand features one of the greatest fights in X-Men movie history. Despite a messy script, The Last Stand actually does feature some bright spots that make it an enjoyable watch. The action that made the first two films so entertaining is present and continues to deliver satisfying thrills for longtime fans. When the final fight begins on Alcatraz though, the movie picks up with a phenomenal battle. Magneto moving the Golden Gate Bridge to the island is a perfect opener for the last act, and the effects still hold up today. The fight that ensues when he drops the bridge though is a major highlight. The sheer number of mutants that charge the prison to kill the one responsible for the cure is staggering. When the X-Men arrive, the counterattack is even more impressive as they manage to hold their own against Magneto's forces. It even culminates in a terrifying finale as Jean Grey begins wiping out both humans and mutants when she unleashes her powers as the Phoenix. There are downsides to this battle, including the infamous Juggernaut scene where he yells, "I'm the Juggernaut, B********H" to Kitty Pryde. However, it's still a final battle that brings this film to an entertaining climax. Despite its shortcomings, The Last Stand isn't the worst X-Men movie. The overall entertainment value of The Last Stand is ultimately what makes it hold up as one of the most fun films in the X-Men saga. After all, it's a superhero movie, so the enjoyment factor is just as important as its storytelling. Since this film, there has been one movie that has stood out as the worst of the franchise. 2019's Dark Phoenix made a new attempt at bringing the Dark Phoenix storyline to the big screen. Unfortunately, just like The Last Stand, it left many audiences disappointed. What The Last Stand holds over Dark Phoenix, though, is entertainment. The latter is a bore to watch, with a dreary tone and a slow pace that impacts the storytelling. The action scenes, which could have been the film's saving grace, are nothing fans haven't seen before while also lacking the grandiose nature of previous X-Men endeavors. The Last Stand may still be a weaker entry in the franchise, but its entertainment factor is what makes it stand over other X-Men films. The story may be a bloated mess, but it's not nearly as dreary as a film like Dark Phoenix. After 20 years, X-Men: The Last Stand is a film that still has problems, but it has certainly found its redemption.